Hey everybody, it's Uzi Hussein with H2 Team Orlando and Keller Williams at the Parks Realty, and today we're going to talk about new construction homes, especially the design center appointment, what to expect, what upgrades to think about doing with the builder, and maybe which ones you should save money and do after you've already moved into the house. So with that said, here we go.
Flooring, hardwood or tile, countertops, granite, quartz, porcelain. Oh my goodness, whatever is butcher's block. Should I get marble for that one time that I bake? Epoxy, garage storage cabinets. Oh my god, 44-inch, 42-inch cabinets. Crown molding, no crown molding. Oh my goodness. Decisions. I don't know what to do.
Guys, if you've just bought a new build home, a new construction home, congratulations. And oh my goodness, isn't it a dream come true? It's kind of like, if I had to use the analogy, I would use the analogy for a new car, that new car smell. Everything is so new and gorgeous and just wonderful. So enjoy it. However, it can be pretty overwhelming and a little daunting, especially when you get to the design center. Because there's just so many decisions, right? And you don't want to get it wrong. And I get that. A lot of people don't want to get it wrong. And then you have chatter. Aunt Sally, she put in marble. Uncle Joe, he extended the garage. Everybody's giving you advice like, hey, do this, do that. As a realtor, I'll tell you, having helped so many people, including purchasing some new build homes myself, I've also made mistakes early on as far as what we paid for at the design center appointment versus what we could have saved money and just done it later, either as a DIY project or hired contractors to get it done after the fact. So what I'd like to share with you today are just some things to think about to help you with your appointment, to help you with your understanding of the whole new build process from a design center point of view, and also shed some light on, where is the most ROI that you can get in terms of, not just when you go to sell the property, but also durability. I mean, you don't want to suddenly go through the process, maybe buy something that's not going to last, and now you have to change it, right? That's not going to be a good way to go. So it can be very overwhelming, and there's just way too many decisions. One thing is, every builder is obviously going to be doing it differently. They all have their own processes that they follow, but typically most builders will have something called either a preview night. So if you have not yet purchased, but you're thinking about a particular home in a particular community with a new build, check with them and see if they have a preview night, which you might be able to go to just to see what options you could potentially do for your new home. And also at that preview night, it gives you an idea of how much everything costs. So that's always a good idea. All right, guys. So in addition to your main design center appointment, most builders will probably also have you do an appointment with the superintendent, who's actually going to be the main person in charge of actually constructing your home, and all the vendors that come in and out of your house. He's overseeing, them and the quality of the work. One of those, some of the items that are going to be discussed with the superintendent will be more of structural types of upgrades, right? So, for example, if you have a tech package in your home, some sort of, specific wiring needs, where the television's going to go on the wall, etc., maybe some additional sockets, those types of things. Those selections, like maybe they'll have you walk through the house or look through the blueprints and sort of make decisions on, okay, this is where I want an extra socket, and this is where I want the wiring, this is the wall I want the television to be on, and so on and so forth. Also, possibly at that same appointment, you might be discussing insulation. You may be discussing windows, and by windows I mean, whether they're hurricane resistant windows or what have you, and you may also be discussing, just wiring stuff and more structural things, maybe even the size of the garage if you're doing a garage extension. Um, Insulation is something that will, you never see it, but you feel it, and every day you live it. So if you have an opportunity, the builder's going to be building to a certain standard or a certain code that they absolutely have to build and follow in terms of what the city mandates or what the building codes may be of that particular time. And yet, they'll always also offer certain things that they know add value, and insulation upgrades is something, window upgrades is something that does add value, and it definitely affects your bottom line even when you're living in the house. So definitely keep that in mind. I think a lot of times we get so excited by all the soft goods that we don't think about some of these upgrades that I feel are very, very helpful to consider when purchasing a brand new home. In addition to that, now let's just fast forward to the actual design center appointment. So what can you expect? Well, usually you'll have a designer who have set aside a couple of hours to help you build and select things that you need for your home. They're usually very good about guiding you, right? They offer good counsel also in the sense that they know what other neighbors are doing, how much they're spending. So they'll give you most likely a figure. They might say, hey, you know what? Most buyers we're seeing that are building a house like yours, they're spending anywhere from 6 to 8% on average of the price of the home in upgrades. And that kind of gives you an idea. Having said that, your budget is your budget. So just because your neighbor's spending 8% doesn't mean that you have to. I think that's where you prioritize what's important to you. And when you're doing your prioritization, think ahead, think into the future, anticipate your needs. So for one, think about your current lifestyle. If you like to have coffee in your lanai or your patio and you live in Florida, for example, consider the fact that we have mosquitoes and we have rain and sun. Maybe it makes sense to screen in your lanai right from the get-go and have the builder do it. One of the reasons why that also makes sense is because if you do it after the fact, not only would you need to get HOA approval if you're in a community that has an HOA, but then you'd also have to most likely get city approval. So, and that can delay, right? It's not hard to get, but it can delay your ability to enjoy that space. So maybe it makes sense to just go ahead and allocate funds to get that done through the builder if they're offering that. In addition to that, prioritize, what are some things that are important to you? If flooring is important to you, or kitchen cabinets are important to you, or, maybe it could be that a particular countertop is more appealing and so forth. And before I go any further, this is a question that comes up a lot, especially my first-time home buyers. They'll often say, well, Uzi, say we live in this house for 5 years and then we go to sell it, where can we expect the most return on our initial investment? So the answer to that is bathrooms and kitchens is really where you're going to see quite a bit of your money coming back, right? But it'll never be 100%. So bathrooms, you can expect around 66%. So if you spent $10,000 on a bathroom remodel, you can expect to get $6,600 back when you go to sell your house. And for kitchens, depending on if it's a minor or a major remodel, it can be anywhere from like 50 to 70%. The one thing that you have to keep in mind, that you have to consider also, this is a really critical thing to keep in mind, is, so when your builder is probably going to tell you, hey, we're giving you an incentive of $10,000 to spend at a design center, and then you may have been approved in a way to where you could still spend another $30,000 so that you have a total of $40,000. And then maybe some of the things at the end of the day you've chosen take you to like $50,000. The design center may require you to make additional deposits, especially if you pick very specific things or very high price premium items, only because if for any reason you don't close on that home, now they're stuck with a house that has very specific tastes or very high premium items in it, and so they want to make sure that you're on the hook for it, quite frankly. So just keep that in mind. This way you're not surprised by it. At the same time, also think about appraisals. They'll guide you, if you wanted to put a $10,000 slab of blue Brazilian granite on your island and you have a $250,000 starter home, chances are they're really going to talk you out of it because they know that that may not potentially appraise, or it may just be an issue down the road. So kind of go with their counsel as well, so that they make sure that you don't face any problems after the fact or during the design process. So yeah, staying on budget also means doing some research, right? Doing some due diligence before you get to the design center. Now, how do you do that? Well, in pre-COVID days, I would say visit a few different model homes and kind of get an idea of what you like, what your style is. These days, that's going to be a little challenging. So online, there's a lot of resources. Obviously, you can also visit your big box stores like Home Depots and Lowe's and what have you, to kind of get an idea of what something typically costs or what's available in the market should you decide to do it after the fact. And then there's an app that I really love. It's called Houzz, Houzz. It's also a website, houzz.com. Has great ideas, and you can even have a idea book for your new home. So hopefully you'll do your due diligence and you'll be very well prepared for your design center appointment. So just to recap, let's talk about the things that you should definitely consider to help you. So windows, insulation, HVAC, which is your AC. So if you have an option of upgrading it, and if it makes sense from a standpoint of energy consumption and your monthly cost, that may be something to think about. Flooring, just a tip to, help is, again, that if you're going to go with some very premium type of flooring in the high traffic areas like your living room or your foyer or kitchen, but maybe you can do some cost savings if you have secondary rooms that you may A, not have high traffic, and B, you seldom use, like say a guest room. Maybe you don't need to get the same type of flooring to continue in that room, and instead, say you go with the builder standard carpet, maybe just spend the money on more of a upgraded carpet pad, so that it won't feel like it's basic, and it'll definitely be an upgrade worth spending money on. No, you probably won't get any money back for it when you sell the house, probably because of wear and tear, but at least you'll enjoy walking into the room and feel cushy. Let's talk about, flooring. Oh, countertops. So with countertops, you have a lot of choices these days. Everything from granite to engineered stone, quartz, corian, butcher block, marble. Look, if you're not going to bake, you're not a baker, marble is nice, but it's expensive. Do you really need marble? Maybe granite will do. Granite also has several different levels. Maybe you don't want to go with the very basic, but maybe you also don't want to go with the most highest premium level of granite, because while it may be unique and have some beautiful coloring and veins or what have you, you're probably not, at the end of the day, going to get money back for it, or it may be too specific, right? So just something to think about. And also with countertops, again, if you have secondary bathrooms that are, not something that you're going to use, or maybe the adults in the house are not going to use it, maybe don't spend the money on the same type of upgraded upgraded countertops in those secondary bathrooms, and that's a way to save some money. Let's talk about lighting. Lighting is something that I would say you should also consider doing after, as opposed to doing it with the builder. Builders typically sell their lighting as package deals, like, okay, this is A package or B package, And if you're very particular, and you know, lighting is like accessories. Like, so I'm going to talk to the ladies here. It's like your earrings, or your purse, you know, and you want it to be stylish and beautiful and all of that stuff. And honestly, the builders don't really have those types of lighting anyway. So do that after the fact. Save yourself some money. Let's see, what other upgrades are we talking about? Epoxy in the garage, kitchen cabinets in the garage, storage cabinets in the garage, a workbench, things like that. Those are all things that can also be done after the fact. And yet, if it is something that's within your budget, by all means, knock yourself out. A sink, on the other hand, you know, if you have an option for a sink, or you have an option for an electric car charging, those are things that you might consider doing, because those are going to be harder to do after the fact. Let's see, appliances. Appliances is again something that my only recommendation with appliances is make sure that your appliances are of the same color. So if you're going to go with you know, white basic appliances, make sure they're all white. If you're going to go with stainless steel, make sure they're all stainless steel. And let's see, window coverings. Most builders will offer, well, I should say it depends on the builder, but many of them have started to offer some form of window coverings. Now, plantation shutters, if that's something that you absolutely must have, I would say price it out before you decide to go with the builder, because that may just be something that you could get a better deal versus the convenience factor, I guess, right? So everything has I guess a pro and a con. I think the main takeaway is think about, okay, this is something that I absolutely must have on the first day when I walk into the house, when I get my keys, and then think about, okay, how much am I really willing to go through after the fact? You know, an electrician coming in and installing a few chandeliers, just a couple of hours, and gets the job done, versus something where, you know, a contractor might need a couple of days and you have to live with all of that. So those are just some things to think about. Some things that you can really do after the fact, after you move and really enjoy it, would be things like, you know, the cabinetry hardware. The cabinetry hardware, maybe your builder is providing you with a standard package, and then you can, you know, upgrade it as you know, feel later on. And that can also be said about the kitchen backsplash tile. Sometimes the kitchen backsplash tile through a builder's upgrade can be very costly, and it can be a lot less if you do it yourself, or even hire a handyman or a contractor to do it for you. So just again, something to think about. Let's see, we talked about storage. Let's talk about storage. So, you know, most laundry rooms will have shelves, but the builders will always offer cabinets as an upgrade. And, you know, it could just be a few $100s, but everything also adds up then. So, again, that's something you can also just do after the fact. So, unless it's absolutely critical for you, skip it and do it later. A few other things that I wanted to share with you are just some things as buyer beware, right? So when you go to the design center appointment, and of course you know, whatever selections you choose, you will get, you know, some paperwork, and you'll get a copy of everything that you selected. Just make sure it has all the model numbers. Maybe take photographs of the samples, the colors, and things like that. Now, because sometimes we're dealing with natural materials like wood or granite, they will also tell you this, that you know, there could be some alteration in the samples versus the real thing, just because it's natural and you can't control those types of elements. Yet you still want to go ahead and still make sure that for your records, you know exactly what you purchased, because, you know, 6 months go down the road and you may be like, wait a second, I don't remember it being this, or you never know. And sometimes these mistakes are just, you know, human mistakes, and yet you want to make sure that you're protected. Another thing is, some of the builders, when you ask them, hey, how much does this cost? They may not be able to, or they may choose at first not to tell you the actual cost of something and rather have it like grouped as, well, this is a level package. If you can, try to extract the actual cost of the item, simply so that if you've done your research and you've done it really well, then you know whether it makes sense to have the builder go ahead and do that upgrade for you, or if it's a selection that you would choose to do at a later date after you've moved into the house. And with that said, there's always that whole thing about the convenience factor and the fact that how much can you really do? If you're a really busy person and you don't see yourself having the time to deal with contractors after the fact, well, guess what? Buy and get everything done right from the get-go if you're able to. And yet, these are tips just to help you in making a decision if you are inclined to just, say, hey, I want to make I'm going to make my best options. I want to think about the best things that I need right from the get-go, and then what are some things that I can just do at a later date. With that said, have fun. Don't get overwhelmed. Don't feel pressurized, and do your research, and listen to your gut. That's what I always say. I can send you a list that I have prepared for my buyers, where we, basically recap most of the stuff that I talked about. So if it's something that you would like, you can send me a message, contact me, text me. If this is on social media, which it will be, definitely, follow, like, what have you, and just somehow contact me. My contact information is available, and I'll be happy to send it to you. Again, congratulations on your new build home, or if you're considering a new build home, or if you're in the process, and enjoy the design process. And hey, if we don't know each other, maybe after you've done the home, send me your pictures too. I'd love to take a look at them. Thanks, and have a great day.